They don't get cancer. Like the chance of them dying at 30 years old is the same as them dying at 2 years old.
Really?
Or 5 years old, because like most animals and humans, the older we get, the greater chance we have of dying from disease and whatnot. And
so they don't have that.
they don't have that.
Holy crap.
They don't age.
This needs to be talked about on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Naked mole rats. I did not know they lived that long. Carbon dioxide expert here today, Steven Scott. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Excited
I just tried the machine, and it was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
To say the least.
What was your experience of it?
Definitely tough breathing in there. I was trying not to hyperventilate, honestly.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a mental game because we were also conversing while I was doing it.
Yeah. It's hard to talk.
But it probably gets easier, I assume, over time, right?
It does. You build up your CO2 tolerance.
Yeah.
Which makes it easier to breathe. So I can breathe I think you were 3 or 4%. For me, because I've been doing it for a while, that'd be pretty easy. So I could hold a conversation basically. But for even for my mom, she's 75 years old and she does the 1 or 2%, and she's breathing really fast, because a lot of it has to do with their CO2 tolerance, because CO2 actually is the stimulus for breathing, even more than oxygen, even more than the lack of oxygen, I should say. So hypoxia is less of a stimulus to breathe than CO2. So CO2 causes you to breathe faster. Like when you exercise, you're getting more CO2 in your system.
Right. So, I noticed that when I put it on, I was like, why am I breathing faster? I was like, what the hell? But that makes sense. And as we get older, your oxygen levels go down, right?
I wouldn't say you're, you still, if you look at a pulse oximeter, you're someone that's older, your hemoglobin saturation of oxygen should still be, when you're older, it's still going to be close to 96 to 100, which means all of your red blood cells are on the hemoglobin. It's holding all of the oxygen that it can hold. But potentially the amount of red blood cells you have, and also as you age, you have more capillary senescence. So you have less tissue perfusion to the cells. Your capillaries are kind of deteriorating as you age, and you're getting less blood flow to all of your tissues and cells and whatnot.
So would this help kind of mitigate that?
It would actually, yeah. There was a study done showing that one of the things that exercise does is that it increases your capillary density, and it restores capillaries that have become senescent, become damaged and not functioning as well. And CO2 therapy is actually more effective than oxygen, according to these studies, at increasing your capillary density and also increasing your mitochondria. So it's CO2 itself is a signal to create more mitochondria and create better mitochondria quality and everything like that.
That's very interesting to me. That is more effective, because I would say oxygen therapy is more mainstream.
It is, yeah. Not many people really know about CO2 therapy. It's been around for people doing CO2 therapy for probably hundreds of, centuries actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you look at natural springs, they're in ancient Greek times, biblical times, people built cities around these natural springs, and people would go there to receive healing, and they would sit in these baths, and they were found to be naturally very high in carbon dioxide.
Interesting. So they just didn't know the science behind it, but they didn't
know the science, but they noticed the effect of it, and they would actually literally build cities around these springs and
holy crap. So warm springs have high amounts of carbon dioxide in them?
Yeah, certain ones do, yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And
go on.
Yeah, there's also historically, in the 1700s, there's actually, they started, even at the very, very beginning when they first started to understand carbon dioxide and what it is, there was a book written in 1792 where they had two women with ulcerated breast tumors, and they built some contraption where they would put 100% CO2 on the tumor, and it actually, for one of the women, it actually caused the tumor to completely reverse.
Whoa.
And for the other woman, it never, the cancer for that woman, but for both of them, it significantly reduced the pain, because there was a lot of pain associated with this ulcerated breast tumor coming out of their skin and whatnot. And so it's very pain relieving, and it's been used quite a lot throughout history, and it's something that's really been forgotten. You look at biohackers today or like influencers, no one's talking about carbon
No
dioxide.
one.
They're talking about like red light therapy, maybe oxygen therapy.
You're the first person I've met talking about it.
Yeah.
And I've met a lot of biohackers.
Yeah,
so
yeah. There's I guess one person that really popularized it. I mean, it's not popular, but one person that gave it more credibility is James Nestor.
I've heard of him actually.
Yeah, he wrote Breath.
Right.
And he talks about breathing in a certain way where you retain more carbon dioxide. And he talks a little bit about carbon dioxide in his book, but not in depth. And
Yeah, because certain breath work techniques, I'm assuming, kind of follow this principle, right?
certain ones do, like especially Buteyko.
Yeah.
Like Buteyko method is you breathe very like gently and slowly. So you're breathing in a certain way to retain more carbon dioxide. And he was a Russian physician back in the 1950s, and he discovered that his chronically ill patients, they would tended to hyperventilate. So the more chronically ill they were, the more they tended to hyperventilate. And so he thought, what if I slow my breathing down? And he did. And he himself, he had very high blood pressure. He had health problems. He had tried everything to like resolve those. And just by slowing down his breath and retaining more CO2, he was able to overcome his high blood pressure. It became normalized, and he overcame a lot of his health issues. And he basically, according to him, became almost superhuman. He required less sleep. He had more energy, was able to more resilient to stress and everything like that. And
yeah, breath work is powerful, man. I've seen some interesting techniques. I've seen one where you breathe once a minute.
Oh, once a minute. Okay.
You do that for, I think, 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's like an extreme version of like Buteyko breathing.
Okay.
So that way you're retaining more carbon dioxide. You're building up your CO2 tolerance.
Yeah. Yeah, people have reported like hallucinations on that method. Pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, that method, it might be the hallucinations might be more like from lack of oxygen potentially.
Yeah.
Like if you're using up all of your oxygen and then you're getting less oxygen to your tissues. Like, have you seen that breath work where you like they do it for like trauma work like that, and like hyperventilate, like breathing really fast.
Box breathing, right?
Or box breathing, that's more like you breathe in for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds. There's like some certain like trauma work where you go to these workshops and you go like,
oh yeah, I've seen clips of that.
Yeah.
So is that good or no?
For some people it can cause a seizure potentially.
Holy crap.
So you're actually getting more oxygen when you do that. You would think you're like, oh, I'm getting more oxygen to my cells, but actually the opposite is happening. You're getting less oxygen to your cells. Like oxygen by itself will create vasoconstriction. So it means you're getting all of your arterial system is restricting. So you're getting less oxygen to your tissues. And if you do it for a long period of time, your fingers will start curling up, and like some people could have a seizure. And
holy crap!
And I think it partially releases trauma from cutting off circulation to like the frontal cortex of your brain. So you're like opening up like some of the areas of your brain that you were suppressing before, some of the more primal areas of the brain. And so some of those like those memories and feelings aren't being suppressed by your frontal cortex, like your consciousness.
That's interesting. What do you think of the Wim Hof method? Some people use that method. They hold their breath for like 5 minutes. Is that good, you think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty effective. And I think the Wim Hof method also has to do with like intermittent hypoxia. So you're also kind of hyperventilating that too a little bit. Mm-hmm. And you're creating this hypoxia in the body from breathing more. But sometimes that's good because when you do hypoxia intermittently, you're killing off some of the weak mitochondria, you could say. So the effects of like doing that type of breathing, or like if you do like intermittent hypoxia, it's what you're doing is you're killing off some of the weak mitochondria, which seems to be beneficial, and you're building like hypoxia itself will also help build more like capillary density. It will create angiogenesis. So you're basically creating more vasculature to the tissues and everything. So it can be beneficial, but for some people it could be dangerous, especially elderly people. If you look at, this happens in anesthesia sometimes. I have a friend Lewis Coleman, he wrote a book called 50 Years Loss of Medical Advance. And he has a method of anesthesia where he actually builds up people's CO2 levels. Mm-hmm. And most of the time in anesthesia, you're giving the patient oxygen, you're kind of hyperventilating them. So they're actually getting less oxygen to their tissues. And then for older people, you're basically, like our body tends to store CO2. Like the average person has like 130 liters of CO2 in their body at any time. And oxygen, we don't store oxygen, even though it's so essential to life. You don't store any oxygen because it's toxic.
Interesting.
And, yeah.
I didn't know that. So oxygen is toxic.
It is, yeah.
Because when people think of oxygen, they assume life, like you're breathing in life.
Right. It's toxic, creates free radicals, reactive oxygen species.
Whoa.
If you just think about like rusting. Like
So if you stayed in a
oxygen
hyperbaric chamber long term, it'd be bad for you?
Yeah. I mean, it does have some good effects, but some people, like especially with chronic fatigue syndrome and other things like that, they tend not to do well with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So like hyperbaric oxygen therapy, it's like compared to like CO2 therapy, it's more of a forceful method of like pushing oxygen into your blood plasma and into your tissues. And then CO2 therapy, what it's doing, it's increasing. So oxygen creates vasoconstriction, what I talked about before. So it's like closing up the vasculature. You're getting less blood flow to your tissues. And CO2 actually opens that up, so you're getting more blood flow to your tissues. And CO2 is causing the oxygen from the hemoglobin to be released into the tissues. And CO2 also, it's a Lewis acid, so it slightly withdraws electrons from proteins in the cells, and it slightly acidifies the proteins in the cell. So it's actually makes cells more hungry for oxygen. So it's actually like pulling oxygen into the cells.
Wow.
And so it's doing it in a way that, and CO2 has also been found to be probably one of the greatest antioxidants. So it's protective against the toxicity of oxygen. It's protective against the free radicals and the reactive oxygen species and whatnot. And
Interesting.
I mean, there can be some like reactive oxygen species as a signaling molecule, so there's some benefits to it, but an over amount of them is like probably a big reason for aging and whatnot.
Sounds like there's a lot of benefits to this, man.
No, there really is. Yeah.
Crazy. Have you seen any adverse effects, any of your clients or anything?
Some people, like, if they overdo it, they could get a headache, potentially. Okay. It's definitely something you don't want to overdo. It can create respiratory acidosis. So it's something you want to do like 5 or 10 minutes here or there, even 20 minutes, but I wouldn't do it for a long period of time. We've done some research where we've taken some mice and we've exposed them to, we've had them out at like 10% CO2 for extended periods of time, and they tend to adapt to that. But I mean, your body is always producing carbon dioxide, so it's not a toxin. It's something that your body can use. And
got it.
But you can overdo it, and you can kind of feel the symptoms of it coming on when you're starting to overdo it. So,
yeah, 10%, because you had me at 4%, right?
Yeah,
10. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would have been tough.
It is tough. Yeah.
What are you at?
I can do 8% pretty easily.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you did double what I just did. That's crazy.
I wouldn't say it's easy. Like when I do it, I breathe pretty rapidly, which is beneficial in itself, because there was when you breathe deeply like that, your breathing is actually like I learned this from Stephen Elliott.
Yeah.
So breathing is a circulatory is a cardiovascular function. So it's basically, when you're breathing in deeply, you're creating this like vacuum, and it's pulling in the venous blood, and it's creating a lymphatic action. So it's helping to pull the toxins away from the cellular environment. And then when you're exhaling, it's actually pushing the blood. So in addition to the heartbeat, there's also the Stephen Elliott calls it a Valsalva wave. So in addition to the heartbeat, there's this Valsalva wave that follows the breathing pattern. When you're shallow breathing, you're not creating this. There's no Valsalva wave at all.
Whoa.
And when you're breathing, so CO2 causes you to breathe deeply. So you're getting, what he discovered is that when you're breathing deeply like that, you're like, normally it takes 1 minute for your blood to circulate through the entire body. And when you're breathing deeply through this thoracic pump almost, you're doubling the speed of the blood through the tissues. So you're getting more tissue perfusion and oxygenation to the cells. And that's one of the benefits of exercise, is getting that. You're getting more waste products removed. And one aspect of disease is that, like in diabetes or cancer, there's this pH gradient. Normally the pH gradient is the cells. Inside of the cell, it's more acidic. And in the outside of the cell environment, it's more alkaline. And when you get towards like diabetes and then more so towards cancer, that pH gradient flips. So the inside of your cell is becoming more alkaline and the outside of your cell is becoming more acidic. And I think that one of the reasons that happens, I mean, there's many reasons why that happens, but one thing that contributes to it is your blood becomes more stagnant. You're not exercising. You're not breathing faster. So you're not getting like this good blood flow through your system. So the breathing can actually cause this blood flow, and the waste products aren't. One of the causes of the acidity around the cell is the waste products build up, like the lactic acid and whatnot. And when you're breathing deeply, it helps to remove the waste products from the extracellular environment from outside of the cell.
That's good to know. What about sauna? When you're in there, does that remove any waste products?
It does, yeah. It does it in a different way, though, yeah.
Different way?
From sweating, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a fan of sauna, man.
Yeah.
I do it like 5 days a week. I feel great after.
No, I love sauna, too.
Do you do the red light or do you do the regular one?
I do the red light. I do the far infrared. I actually have a device I developed that's going to be released soon that I've been using it, but you're surrounded by infrared panels. Your head is out of it, but it fills up with 100% CO2.
Whoa.
It's like a CO2 bath, but you're also getting the benefits of the infrared, and you're also getting the additional benefit that when you heat up your skin and when you create sweat, it actually causes greater absorption of CO2 transdermally. So it's like you're getting all the benefits of the heat, the light, and everything, and also the CO2.
I haven't heard of anything like that. That sounds unique.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
You might have to get a patent on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biohacking space, you never know what's a trend and what's going to last, you know?
Yeah.
It's like CBD was a trend, like it didn't last.
Right. Yeah, one of the trends that has been lasting longer than I thought it would is the cold water therapy.
Cold plunge?
Yeah, I mean, because it's so like uncomfortable that...
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. I've heard it reduces like your ability to like build muscle and stuff
Oh,
like that.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's not worth it. The risk to reward isn't there for me on that one.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the benefits to me are more the mental benefits of like building up the resilience to like be able to handle like a difficult situation. So it might help you in like your daily life to handle other difficult situations.
I could see that. Yeah, mentally it definitely helps. But yeah, these companies are charging $5,000 to $10,000 for a cold plunge these days.
I know, it's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's crazy.
Like if I'm gonna do it, I'll just hop in my pool or like hop in the cold shower.
Yeah, exactly.
$10,000 on a cold plunge? Come on now.
Yeah. I'd rather do something fun like go in the lake or ocean and do like surfing or something, and like water's cold, but you're having fun though.
For real. Any pro athletes using the stuff that you know of?
Yeah, I've got some professional football players. I actually had I know in Vegas a couple weeks ago you had the Olympia bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
And I had someone, he asked me if he could use the products. He mostly used my suit, which is a suit you go into and use it transdermally.
Mm-hmm.
And he used that. And then I gave him the breathing machine like a couple weeks before the show, or like 2 or 3 weeks before the show. And he won the whole thing. He won the
Holy crap. So you could take partial credit for that.
I mean, he's been working on it for 17 years, but he said it did play a big role for him because after his workouts, he would do the bath, and he said it reduced inflammation throughout his whole body. He felt better the next day, so he could work out harder the next day and everything like that. And so
it's that quick.
It's that quick, yeah. I had this cancer researcher in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
She had an injury in her arm, and she has an ultrasound machine.
Yeah.
And she like did the ultrasound on her injury, and she saw all this like inflammation and all that. And she did the CO2 bath. And right afterwards, immediately, she looked at it, and the inflammation was like greatly reduced. Yeah.
So it's that quick because there's a lot of stuff that takes time. You know,
it does. This has like immediate benefits of like reduction in inflammation, like getting more oxygen to your cells, but it also has long-term effects of creating more capillary density and more mitochondria changes. Like depending on how you're working out, it'll help you like build like change your like muscle fiber types to like fast twitch versus like slow twitch based on what you're doing and stuff like that. So
yeah, because I was a distance runner, so we relied on slow twitch, but sprinters are fast twitch, right?
Right.
So this helps with both of those?
It does, yeah.
Wow. So it could be all sorts of athletes can use this type of stuff then, not just one sport.
Oh yeah, definitely. And a lot of athletes, they tend to be like they're like stimulated all the time, so they have trouble relaxing.
Yeah.
And the suit, it's so relaxing. You just like, I've had people go in there, like we're at a big convention or something, and there's like noise all around, and they're like out.
They knock out
In minutes. Yeah.
Dang, I can't wait to use it.
Yeah,
I got one at the house now.
Yeah.
So
But they use it. Yeah, they use it for relaxing and stuff like that.
So it's more like a recovery thing. Use it after you work out.
Yeah, more recovery, and then it does help. Like, yeah, I'd say more recovery. Some people do the breathing while they're working out, and it helps them like do like more weights and stuff like that, and more reps. And
Really?
like that, yeah.
Holy crap! I'm excited. How'd you stumble across this stuff? It's not like a conventional route.
Right. Yeah, actually, I talked about it before. Konstantin Buteyko, who developed the Buteyko breathing method.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading his work, and he had such amazing effects with the CO2, and then I started reading about CO2 therapy and medicine, and it's been like around historically a while. There's actually a book written in 1905. It was called Carbon Dioxide in Medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and it talked about the use of carbon dioxide in the early 1900s and 1800s, and they would use CO2 for all kinds of things, like for PMS, for like asthma, for heart issues and all that. And they talked about one case of a rheumatic patient,
Mm-hmm.
which is like inflammation of the joints and connective tissue. And he couldn't use any of his limbs for like 2 or 3 years, it said in the book. And after the 15th bath, they had him do the CO2 baths. And after the 15th bath, he was able to start walking again.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Holy crap!
I'm not promising anything like that. He could have done other stuff too potentially, but
yeah, no, that's still nuts.
Yeah,
I wonder why this hasn't taken off yet. I wonder if guys like Dave Asprey and Brian Johnson have seen this thing, or Huberman.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting because to me it's one of the greatest. I know like Dave Asprey, Brian Johnson, they're into longevity.
Yeah,
and to me CO2 is probably the most powerful therapy that there is for longevity. If you look at like the naked mole rats, for example,
mm-hmm.
they live like 35 years compared to like a regular mouse lives like 1.5 to 2 years. So they're living like 16, 17 times longer than the regular mouse. And one unique thing about their environment is they have very high CO2 levels, like from 5 to like 13% CO2.
Why is it so high in their environment?
Because they live underground and they breathe off CO2 as a metabolic byproduct, and it just builds up in those environments.
Interesting. So animals that live underground, I'd love to see a study on animals that live underground compared to animals above ground.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into all animals that live underground, but I know these, for some reason, their environment is particularly high in CO2. I'm not sure if that's the case for all animals. Maybe where they, in the burrows that they live in, maybe the CO2 doesn't diffuse into the ground as much as other environments, I guess. But one unique thing about them is they basically don't age. They don't get cancer. Like the chance of them dying at 30 years old is the same as them dying at 2 years old.
Really?
Or 5 years old, because like for most animals and humans, the older we get, the greater chance we have of dying from disease and whatnot. And
so they don't have that.
they don't have that.
Holy crap!
They don't age.
This needs to be talked about on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Naked mole rats. I did not know they lived that long.
Yeah.
Are those the ones without eyes?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I'd know. It's like
I think
pink skin and stuff.
Yeah, they're like pink. They're pretty ugly.
Yeah, they're super ugly. My fiance has a huge fear of them.
Oh, she does.
Massive.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, rats in general, people aren't like fans of.
Yeah, they don't tend to live around this area. I don't think
I've never seen
they're more
one.
in Africa, but
They're in Africa.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, scientists need to study those instead of regular rats.
Yeah, for sure.
They need to get those in the lab.
Yeah. There's other animals too, like certain bats that live in caves, which have high CO2 levels. It's the same thing. They live a really long time.
Holy crap! So there's a direct correlation between.
There is. They also have less oxygen in there too, so there's that aspect as well. So you're not getting as much of the oxidative damage from having too much oxygen. So it's a combination of the CO2. So CO2 has the benefits of its own, and I think there's probably something to the lower levels of oxygen as well.
Yeah.
Potentially, and the adaptions that happen to them because of that.
Crazy. What if someone broke a bone? Would this help them recover quicker?
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's actually, there's quite a lot of studies showing that happens in fracture repair and bone healing. And CO2 is actually, when you have more CO2 than you need, it's actually stored in the bone. It helps build bone strength and whatnot.
Wow.
There's actually a group of people called something Petrosa, I forget what they're called, but it's called marble bone disease. And it's people that retain very high levels of carbon dioxide, and their bones, like, become like super hard. Like it's called marble bone disease because their bones become like super hard, like marble, basically. So CO2 levels will help increase your bone density. So someone has like getting older and they're afraid of like osteoporosis or something like that. I think that CO2 could be very beneficial for that. And
Oh, for sure.
even myself, I don't know if it's, I've never done a, have you done a DEXA scan before?
I've done a DEXA scan.
Yeah. I've done a lot of them recently because I was trying to lose some weight and I was making sure that I wasn't like losing muscle mass when I was losing the weight. And my bone density is like off the charts. It's
Really?
Like, it's like I can't think of the name of the score right now, but it's like 0 is normal and mine was like 2 is like in the 99th percentile or something.
Wow.
So I don't know if it was like that before doing CO2 therapy, or if it's from the CO2 therapy. I can't say that, but
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see if it helped raise it, right?
yeah.
But some people have really fragile bones. Like I know people that have broken their bones like 10 times. So something like this might help them, right?
Yeah, no, it definitely helps them because it builds bone strength, and it also helps create more blood flow to the bones, more microvasculature to the bones, like that and everything. So it'd be very beneficial.
You got to hit up some NFL teams.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
those guys need this.
Yeah, I've got one guy right now. He just bought it a couple weeks ago. He's on the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, nice.
And he's using it, and he loves it. So.
Yeah, because I feel like recovery, also prevention in a way, if it's helping the bones get stronger.
Oh, yeah. You're less likely to get a fracture in the first place.
Yeah, that's massive.
Yeah,
and these guys are making a lot of money, so if they get a bad injury, they're out for the whole season. This could help them a lot.
Oh, yeah, it's huge, yeah. I mean, I'm from Milwaukee Bucks fan. Like, some of our favorite players are always getting injured every year. So even the NBA, it could be huge, too. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Bucks got a good team.
They do. This year they're not. They're
slow start this year.
Yeah.
Slow start. What happened? You think? They have the same roster, so it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. It's a good question. It's hopefully they'll pull it around, but
yeah, I'm wondering if other teams got better or if because they have the same team.
Right, pretty much the same team. Yeah, it's not the same team that they won the championship with, but it's. I mean, it's just a lot of the same players, but it's.
They lost to Pat Connaughton, right?
Yeah, that was Pat Connaughton, and
I'm a Notre Dame fan, so he was one of my favorite players.
Yeah. But yeah, injuries have plagued him. Like Middleton, every year he's getting injured. Like he's out.
Middleton. I'll try to hit him up for you to get him one of these.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
He's getting older now, though.
He is. Yeah.
Late 30s. I feel like that's tough to compete with these 20-year-olds.
So I think this could help extend the life of an athlete too. So they could play into later years.
Absolutely. You said you were trying to lose fat loss. Was this helping out with that too?
It does actually help speed up your metabolic rate, so it definitely helps speed up fat loss. There's another method called carboxy therapy, where they inject CO2 into your skin, and it helps with like wrinkles and stuff like that, and like stretch lines, stretch marks, and they did a study for fat loss too. They injected it into people's stomachs and like their thighs, and they lost like 4 centimeters compared to the control group just from the CO2 injections.
Just from CO2?
Yeah, because it increases the metabolic rate, increasing blood flow and increasing the vasculature of the area and everything like that. Because the fat tissue is very hypoxic. It's very little blood flow, less blood flow than other areas.
Damn, this is like nature's miracle.
It is.
I mean, I like that it's natural. Like I'd rather take this than a pill.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's natural. It's something your body produces. To me, it's the closest thing there is to exercise in a bottle, essentially, because it doesn't have all the benefits of exercise, but it has some of the benefits of exercise, and you can do it multiple times per day. Where exercise, so it's helping getting rid of waste products and whatnot, and helping the blood flow through the system, and you're doing that without building up additional waste products. With exercise, you're getting the same thing, but you're also building up additional waste products. You're building up more lactic acid, more of the other waste products from exercising. But this is creating that removal of waste from the cellular environment without building up additional waste products. So and you can do it like I said, I do it for me, I do it 2 to 4 times a day. You could do it once per day and get benefit. I'm not saying you should like replace it with exercise. People, exercise by itself is like super healthy and important and has other benefits outside of this, but this does have some of the benefits of exercise.
That's cool. I love exercise for stress release.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I play in a couple basketball leagues, and I just feel amazing after, especially hitting the sauna after the games. Yeah, it just, I don't know if this would help with stress, but exercise with stress has been great for me.
Yeah. I have someone using it that he said it basically eliminated his anxiety. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How many things does this stuff do?
Well, it's gonna help any other therapy you're gonna do. It's gonna help it work better.
So it's like an amplifier.
It's like an amplifier, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it has its own benefits in of itself, but it's also an amplifier of other things too. And actually, like in like cancer therapy, it actually sometimes people use it with like chemotherapy or radiation therapy.
Oh wow!
It improves the benefits. It improves the effectiveness of those therapies quite a lot.
Because chemo is really intense.
It is. It's super intense.
Like it's super taxing on the body.
Right. So potentially using this with chemo or radiation. I'm not prescribing this for anyone or talk to their doctor, but potentially because it increases the effectiveness, potentially you could use less chemotherapy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because some people are on it for months, right? And that's super damaging to the body.
It's very damaging to the body. I'm not if I had cancer, I don't know if I'd try to do natural first, but
no, I would try to do natural. Chemo would be like a last resort for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's killing all your good cells too, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's killing your good cells, your cancer cells, and everything.
Yeah. Well, dude, where can people find this product and keep in touch with you?
Yeah, if they go to carbogenetics.com, or I'm also on Instagram, carbogenetics. Search for that. And,
perfect.
If you want, I could put a discount code out there too.
We'll put a link in the description.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, in the YouTube video and on Spotify. Check out the link, guys. Anything else you want to close off with?
No, I just say I would encourage people to study this therapy more and maybe go to my website, check out some of the articles, do some research because I think it's be a very powerful therapy and maybe talk with your doctor or whatever and maybe incorporate it into what you're doing. Yeah,
it'd be cool if they can try it out somewhere, wherever they live first, before they commit to spending money. Hopefully there's spots that do that.
Yeah. Someday we'll have like centers in different areas, like how they have like oxygen therapy places and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are popping up for sure. I'll try to get you in the wellness center here.
Yeah,
I go to in Vegas. Perfect. I'll line that up. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thanks for watching, guys. Check out the links below. See you next time.